How much money did you make last month?
14 grand.
14 grand. There's more. Just wait. It doesn't stop. Hey, excuse me, Anthony. Hey, how much money did you make last month?
$5. I'm just kidding. Last month I made 25K.
Meet the online gurus in remote closing, claiming they made it because of learning one high-paying skill, high-ticket closing. How much of that is actually true? Are they just straight up lying to you? Are they lying to their followers to sell generic courses and programs? My mission is to provide the best remote closing content here on YouTube, give away all of my 3-year experiences and the fundamentals I've learned. What other gurus will charge $10,000 for, you get for free here on this channel. Now back to the video, the rise and fall of remote closing and the future. Let's just start with the first guy, Dan Lok, the self-proclaimed people call Dan Lok the king of high tickets. I don't think it doesn't matter, man. Let's just move on. Let's hear it from him how he made his money.
I learned to write copy, started my one-person advertising agency, and earned my first significant profits.
Interesting, because there was a time during COVID, many of his ads would advertise becoming a high-ticket closer, how he made money remote closing together with his team, something like close collectively like 30 billion or like 20 billion something dollars. And if you try to dig up some of his old advertisement, that content is remote from the advertiser, or it's against the Meta ad policies. Now, this video is not to clown on Dan Lok, even though I would love to. But Coffeezilla already did a fantastic job, and why this is relevant and why I bring this up is because there are many like our friend here, you know, king of selling courses. This man did not make his money high ticket closing. They made their money selling courses on how to become shit, you know, how to become marketer, how to become a closer, how to become an influencer, how to become an online coach, how to become a copywriter. I would argue the $100 million sold collectively from his business and services and courses and digital, any digital product that you can find on how to become this person, or how to become a coach, how to become a closer, how to become a sales guy, is sold with course sales. And I think it's more than 50% course sales than helping with real services and implementation, like anything else in the real world in business. With any of these make money online methods, there is a cycle of hype, like in any market that has existed long before any of us were born. You know, there are up and downs in any industry. The negative part of that cycle of hype is that it dictates what these influencers and gurus will do. At around 2015 and 2020, there was a huge flood of these coaches who taught normal everyday people how to become a closer. Because of the hype, the massive growth and profits gave the gurus a reason to make an online course on how to become a closer. We've seen this cycle of hype take place through AI. Whatever the next gold mine is, there are people who will jump into building the next course around the hype to make quick profits. And I've seen it multiple times. And if you do your research, you will too. If we look at YouTube channels, there will be timeline where the coach only speaks on how to become a closer. Then there will be hundreds of videos about how to become a marketer. Then how to launch an online coaching business. It never stops for them. So when you go to the description on each one of those old videos, click on the links that you find and those pages, they will not exist because the days of advertising them are over. And I get it, marketing changes all the time. But how often do we see a coach that is specialized in 24 different skill sets, enough to continue make courses and teach others how to use that skill set to make money? And it just happens that the skill set that they are specialized in are always the next gold mine where the hype is centered around. It doesn't make any sense, right? If it's done unintentionally. Those courses were, not centered around the most searched words on Google, and that's the time that they launched. Why did they not launch a year before it became popular? Why now when it is popular every time? Course 1 all the way to course 18, all of them were popular before they launched, right? But then there's another aspect of the coin that I'm seeing, is that there are also coaches who have sold for as long as I have, 3 years, which is not long at all, and think they are all good now to become coaches, right? I mean, like, 3 years is not a long time. There are people that's been around for 20 and 25 years who aren't even coaches, right? The peak in the industry for me was around 2021. Many of the coaches that was around teaching how to become a closer are not around anymore. They're not around. Scams and pyramid schemes have always been around, and I'd say more predatory and active before, because the awareness of us others were lacking to how those scams worked, to how those scams were positioned and structured. But what pisses me off is that dodgy courses teaching how to become closers are still around. And that's my reason to why I still create these videos. I want to say, high ticket sales is very doable and it's legit. But what these courses do, and the course creators, is that they carefully say how much effort it will take to close part-time and make 15,000 in just 2 weeks. To make you want to take the course, only to realize after that it's not what you thought it was. Even for a natural person with talent, closing part-time, making 15,000 in 2 weeks without any outside help other than the knowledge from the course, that's very hard. Very, very hard.
Freedom and fulfillment that you want. It was simple. I just learned one high demand skill that would put me dead center in a booming $129 billion industry full of wealthy business owners who would stuff my pockets with daily commission checks of $980 or more simply because I had the one skill they couldn't survive without. That way, I didn't need to learn a ton of new stuff, just one skill. Within a week, I had people lining up to pay me. Within 2 weeks, I had already made $15,460 in commissions. And within 21 days, I looked in my bank account and I saw something crazy. I had earned more money in those 21 days than I had earned in 6 months at my old job. Not to mention, I did it part-time on my own schedule, using nothing but a cell connection.
Right? In all my 3 years, all sorts of closers making between 0 to 40,000 per month. People at that level never bothered having a Lambo. Like, that Lambo wouldn't benefit them other than showing off for others. But why would they show off if it doesn't benefit in any way? Unless a course, right? Unless they want to attract young viewers with a course or a coaching program, like the video that I just showcased you, him stating 15,000 in 2 weeks. High ticket sales was around long before I stepped in, right? Long before it. I think it already started by 2002, which is very early. And then around 2016, that's when most of the exposure came, and then came COVID, 2020, where we were massively marketed to because all we were doing was online, and school were moving online too. So we were in the right environment for these coaches to target all of us because we were on our computers either way. And even if we were taking lessons and classes on school, we would browse Facebook at the same time. It was the first time we were able to do it, right? And that's when most of us were able to catch what becoming a closer was, right? What changed the industry was the advertisements that made it sound more special than what it is, in my opinion. We're not high-ticket closers. We are sales professionals. We are sales people who happen to work remotely. That's all we are, selling online products. Like the only way we have jobs here as a remote closer or high-ticket closer is because of the rise on the coaching world and consulting. Most of the jobs that are within remote closing are coaching programs. Doesn't matter if it's coaching B2B companies or coaching individuals. They exist on all type of levels, right? So if it weren't for online coaches and online consultants and digital courses, we wouldn't exist. But there's a bad side and a good side, right? The bad side is what I've been talking about, right? There are plenty of legitimate courses and coaches out there than those who create a new course every single quarter because of this new hype that is going around the new topic, right? The fall already started happening the moment the flush of coaches decided to launch all of their own courses, teaching the exact same things but charging more than the other. And for remote closing, it happened around 2016 and 2019. But today, there is a mix, right? There is a mix of obviously legitimate coaches who will always be always around, right? Probably hard to find, but the mix on what is causing the fall in remote closing is young people in my age group. I'm 23, who see the other guys make courses and the profit margins are huge because it's all digital. So they close deals online for as long as I have, a couple of years, see the better option to have a course because the profit margin is way better than just taking 10%, right? Which we do as salespeople. And they go ahead and do a course with their limited knowledge, right? Or recycle materials. Like they might have had a mentor sometime, and now they're taking that material that were taught them and they're making people pay for it. It's almost as if I would have taken all of the knowledge from the courses, put together my own little thing, and then charge you guys 17 bucks. Right? It's the exact same thing that these guys are doing. It's it's hard to imagine for me with just 3 years to make a course by myself and just coach people. Like there's so much that I don't know and so much that I won't know in the next 5 years that these 15-year coaches do, right? That's been around for like 25 years. They do. And so that's one coin. The other coin is then we have the ones that we have talked about, the ones who will jump around onto the next thing, next money-making opportunity every time that they get. There is new hype. There will always be hype, and there will continue to be hype. But moving on to the future of remote closing, because that's what matters, right? My predictions is that the market will mature. The online coaching and online consulting world will mature. Those big claims that a lot of these gurus and influencers and coaches and course creators make will become less effective, and trust will be harder to come by. People will have to start relying on building relationships other than making big claims. And how that impacts remote closing is that the businesses will have a harder time to provide you leads for you to close. So you have to sharpen your skill set to achieve the trust from the business owner to hand you those leads, because if it's a harder time to get leads, then the leads are more expensive unless their marketing is all figured out. I think more unlegitimate coaches will be flushed out, and those who have authentic stories to tell, doing something they love for so many years and want to share it to the world, will thrive, right? And that will help you in the way that if the unlegitimate coaches get flushed out, they don't have any leads, they just will burn money on marketing, and those who are legitimate, who's been doing it for plenty of years and just one or two, right, and then launching a course, they'll stay, they'll be overwhelmed with business and leads because they are authentic. They have done it for so many years. Whatever problem and struggle and challenge you're going through, they will know exactly how to solve it, right? And if you are with them and selling that solution, you will also thrive.